Let me tell you a story about ambition, unexpected turns, and the complicated dance between professional dreams and personal reality. There was this young woman, fresh out of university, bright-eyed and determined to make her mark in the corporate world. She landed her dream job at a prestigious company, the kind of position that came with a glass office, business cards with embossed lettering, and a salary that made her parents beam with pride. But there was a catch, as there always is. She was on probation, 3 months to prove herself worthy of a permanent contract. The company was ruthless in its standards. They didn't just want competence. They demanded excellence, dedication, the kind of commitment that meant late nights, weekend emails, and being perpetually available. She knew this going in. She'd prepared herself mentally, physically, even emotionally. She had a 5-year plan, carefully mapped out, with each milestone clearly defined. Marriage could wait. Children? That was a conversation for her 30s, maybe even later. Her boss was a man who'd built his career on results. He was respected, feared even, known for his sharp business acumen and his ability to spot potential or the lack of it within minutes of meeting someone. He'd given her this chance because he saw something in her during the interview. A hunger, a drive that reminded him of his younger self. But he'd also made it clear the probation period was non-negotiable. Perform or leave. Simple as that. She threw herself into the work with everything she had. Every presentation was meticulously prepared. Every report was flawless. She arrived before everyone else and left after the lights in most offices had gone dark. Her colleagues noticed, some admired her dedication. Others whispered that she was trying too hard, that she'd burn out before the probation period even ended. Then came the morning that changed everything. She'd been feeling off for a few days, nothing dramatic, just a persistent fatigue that coffee couldn't fix, a queasiness that came and went without warning. She dismissed it as stress, the physical toll of pushing herself so hard. But when a colleague jokingly suggested she looked pregnant, something clicked. A possibility she hadn't even considered suddenly became impossible to ignore. The pharmacy visit happened during her lunch break. She bought the test with trembling hands, her mind racing through calculations, trying to remember dates, moments, possibilities. It had been just once, a night when caution had been abandoned in favor of passion with her long-term boyfriend. They'd been together for years, had discussed marriage in abstract terms, but always someday, never now. 2 lines, clear as day, positive. She sat in that pharmacy bathroom, staring at the test, feeling the ground shift beneath her carefully constructed plans. 3 weeks into her probation period, and she was pregnant. The timing couldn't have been worse if she'd tried. Her mind immediately went to her boss, to the company's expectations, to the unspoken but clearly understood message that dedication meant being unencumbered by personal complications. The next few days were a blur of denial and calculation. She kept working, kept performing, but there was a new weight pressing on her shoulders. She hadn't told anyone, not her boyfriend, not her family, certainly not her boss. She researched company policies late at night, reading through maternity leave provisions, employee rights, anti-discrimination laws. The words on the screen offered legal protection but no comfort. She knew how these things really worked. Probationary employees were vulnerable. They could be let go for any reason or no reason at all. Her boyfriend's reaction when she finally told him was complicated. Joy mixed with fear, excitement tempered by concern about timing. He wanted to get married immediately, to do the right thing, as he put it. But she couldn't think about weddings when her career hung in the balance. She needed this job. She'd worked too hard, sacrificed too much to let it slip away now. The irony wasn't lost on her. She was fighting to keep a job that would soon require her to take leave, to shift her priorities too. become exactly the kind of employee companies claimed to support but often subtly penalized. The corporate literature was full of phrases like work-life balance and family-friendly policies, but she'd seen enough to know the reality was more complicated. She decided to wait, keep working, keep proving herself, and tell her boss only when she absolutely had to, maybe if she could demonstrate her value clearly enough during these early weeks. Maybe if she could become indispensable, the news would be received differently. It was a gamble, but everything felt like a gamble now. The pregnancy symptoms became harder to hide. Morning sickness struck at inconvenient moments. She kept crackers in her desk drawer, made frequent trips to the bathroom, blamed her pallor on a stomach bug that seemed to linger longer than it should. Her colleagues were sympathetic but also curious. Her boss, sharp as ever, noticed she seemed distracted during a crucial presentation. The conversation she'd been dreading came sooner than expected. Her boss called her into his office on a Friday afternoon, 6 weeks into her probation. Her heart pounded as she walked down the corridor, each step feeling heavier than the last. She rehearsed explanations in her head, prepared defenses, tried to steady her breathing. He got straight to the point, as always. Her work had been excellent, he said. Beyond his expectations, actually. He was impressed by her initiative, her attention to detail, her willingness to go the extra mile. And there was always a but. He'd noticed she seemed tired lately, distracted. Was everything all right? Was the job too demanding? Did she have second thoughts? This was it, the moment of truth. She could lie, buy herself more time, continue the charade, or she could be honest, trust that her work would speak for itself, that the value she'd demonstrated would outweigh the inconvenience her pregnancy might cause. She chose honesty. The words tumbled out: the pregnancy, the timing, the fear, the commitment to her job despite everything. She watched his face carefully, trying to read his reaction, but he was practiced at maintaining a professional mask. The silence that followed felt eternal. He leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled, eyes fixed on some point beyond her shoulder. Then, finally, he spoke. His response would determine everything: her career, her confidence, her faith in the system she'd worked so hard to join. And in that moment, suspended between hope and fear, she understood something profound about the collision between personal life and professional ambition, about the choices women are forced to make that men rarely contemplate, about the courage it takes to claim space for your whole self in a world that often demands you fragment into acceptable pieces. The story wasn't over. It was, in many ways, just beginning.